Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Deportes Nation podcast. Not only the audio part, but the visual part now. If it's a term, a video podcast, this is what this is. I'm Alex Parra. Thanks for joining us. Beside me, the lovely and talented Miss Ashley Rodriguez. Ashley, welcome to Deportes Nation once again. How are you?
Hey, Alex. How are you? Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're excited to have another episode, another edition of Deportes Nation like this, where you're able to view us here on our channel on YouTube and also listen to us. I'm excited, Alex, that our platforms are growing. And,
they are.
Our audience are able to listen to us, see us, interact with us on social media. I like this. I really, really do.
Did we get any love from all of you that are watching, Ashley? I saw a couple of comments, believe it or not, very positive. And again, they said, great to see Ashley. I don't know about the old guy.
They loved it. I had my Twitter account open all day when we first put out the episode, and
right.
So many people congratulated us, and thank you all so much for your support. We truly appreciate it. We can't do this without you, our listeners at home or wherever you may be. We're so thankful for you, and we appreciate the positive feedback. I love that you guys love this too, because I enjoy this. I enjoy looking at you, Alex. I enjoy having our audience look at us. I love it.
I enjoy it. It's a joy to be able to also communicate our perspective, our point of view, and have all of you out there take the time to listen, to watch us, and also give us your opinion, give us your take. And what we're trying to do soon, Ashley, is actually go live with this on our Facebook page. So that might be fun soon to go live and get that direct interaction, which we so need. Well, Ashley, let's get started with this week's episode of Deportes Nation. Sports and more. And we'll start with the more again. Following the election, Ashley, we're now into early December. We know the Electoral College should soon be meeting to certify. We're getting closer to, I guess, that point of no return, but it appears that the Trump administration, or the Trump camp, if you will, this week, thanks to the state of Texas, are on the verge of having the Supreme Court listen and maybe rule on this past November's election. This could be a big deal.
Absolutely, Alex. So just to recap in our election saga here.
The saga continues.
On Deportes Nation. Again, the Electoral College has until December 14th to announce a winner. Now, that being said, we have seen states go to state court, and the Republican Party within each state has pleaded their case, has given many testimonies, that they're proof of what is now all over the news, voter fraud. And so, yes, so this week, the state of Texas went ahead and put a claim to the Supreme Court. We're still waiting to see if the Supreme Court has approved or disapproved of that case moving forward. However, 19 other states, Alex, have joined Texas since this past week in the lawsuit, claiming essentially that the election state-by-state case has been deemed unconstitutional. So some of those states, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my notes here, just to mention a couple of those states are Missouri, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, North and South Dakota. I don't know if I mentioned that already. Tennessee, Utah, West Virginia, and Arizona, just to name a couple. Now, as we recall, Arizona was actually one of the states that at the beginning of the first couple weeks after November 3rd, which was the official election day, they were pleading that there was election fraud, voter fraud, and so that was deemed in rule in the favor of the Republican Party there in Arizona. So now they're joining Texas in this lawsuit. Again, there's a lot of movement going on. The country, the states are now getting involved, Alex. And I find that very interesting. I know that a lot of people may seem kind of weary about that, whether if it's kind of overstepping that state boundary, if you will,
right.
On whether states have certain say on what happens in other states. But I think that what's important to keep in mind here, Alex, is that this isn't just a law that's being passed in a certain state. It's the election here in the United States, who we, the people, the citizens of the United States, are electing their president, their commander-in-chief. So this is essentially very, very important. And so the way that I see it, Alex, is that if a state like Texas is seeing that other states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia are not withholding justice with their own state, they're going to want to get involved.
Sure. Look, I believe, and I don't pretend to be a legal scholar. I don't pretend to be an electoral college or election lawyer. I believe also because of the time, this may be the last-ditch effort from the Trump campaign. Whether it has merit or not, I haven't seen the details. What I do see is a balance between a state, in this case, the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, where we are, Ashley, saying, look, we are actually pursuing this legal path in order what? To get it to the Supreme Court. Because then that ruling or acceptance of the case may shed some finality to this one way or another. If the Supreme Court decides, you know what, we're not going to deal with this, or very quickly says that it has no merit, that literally may be the last possibility for any change of the outcome. If the Supreme Court, on the contrary, says, you know what, there's something there. There is merit here. There are questions. It could open up an entire new chapter to our country's electoral history. So I think it's really coming down to this last-ditch effort. Forgive me, I don't have or know the merits of the case at this point, and I don't see this as a negative. Yes, might it be on one side, meaning on the Biden side, people saying, oh no, why are we even giving this the time of day? But you know what? If it deserves the time of day, who's going to look at that? The Supreme Court. And that's why it's important to talk about it, number one, Ashley, and second, to see what merits it has. So it's interesting that for many, this is a case closed. This is a done deal. And soon, very soon, the Electoral College is actually meeting. But I think for the health of our democracy, Ashley, it's good to have these cases at least brought. And in this case, we'll see what the Supreme Court does.
No, I absolutely agree, Alex. And you put it the best way possible. It's for the health of our democracy. Whenever, whether if you voted a certain way or the other for whatever political party, this is healthy,
Sure.
In order for us to have that strong foundation here in our Constitution and in our country, it's important, and I think it's healthy to be able to challenge these things if we see that there are some irregularities, which there have been, irregularities, brought to certain state courts. So with that being said, again, the state of Texas is seeing that Pennsylvania and Georgia, their parties and their justice system is like, wait a second, there is actual proof of voter fraud here, and you're still choosing to oversee that. You're going blind to that. That's not okay. It doesn't matter at this point who wins, as long as it's fair and just and honest. And I think that that's the key here, Alex, to keep that in mind.
Agree 100%. Ashley, my last question on this topic to you is, do you think we have, you think we've had too much of this? Do you think we were tuning out? I sense that people are tired now. It's almost like, okay, whoever it is, just let's go on, let's move forward, especially in this COVID year. COVID fatigue. Do you think we have election fatigue now, that this is just too much?
I certainly do, Alex. I know I have election fatigue. Look, it's a saga. We keep saying that as a joke, but it really is. It goes on. I don't think that we have ever, or at least I have never experienced something like this in an election process. Usually by November 3rd, or I'm sorry, that first week of November, whenever elections roll in, we know who our president is, and we just prepare for the inauguration day that next January. So it's definitely a journey. This is definitely a long journey, and I think it fits right into the craziness of 2020. That being said, I think that what is really playing a huge role into that election tiredness and that COVID tiredness that we're seeing is the media, is because we as a media are pulling, the audience back and forth. And it's this, tug of war where no, but the Democrats and the Republicans. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, like you said, it's healthy to make these challenges, to ask these questions. And if it is deemed one way or another, okay, at least we know the truth. At least we know that we are able to challenge this and move forward from this. But I think, the media plays a huge role into, what we're seeing, that fatigue that we have in people and the election. It's like, oh, enough, like just let it go. And it's like, the other thing too, really quick, Alex, is that we have to keep in mind this, if, there is voter fraud, which there are cases that are proving that there is, if we just let this go because we're tired, I feel like it is our duty as United States citizens to fight for that justice, to fight for our country, for our democracy. I think our, founding fathers are rolling over in their graves. They're saying, "What do you mean you're tired? We didn't fight for this. We didn't fight to be an independent country just so you can be tired and throw in the towel because it gets difficult." No, and I think that is, part of our job as patriots, part of people as United States citizens, that it's okay. We have to keep fighting, but just so we can have that justice that we all seek at the end of the day.
Ashley, the easy way out is not always the easy way out. And I know I like the word you use. Our democracy carries with it a responsibility. And if we're not keenly aware of that, ladies and gentlemen, one day we could lose this precious gift that is our democracy. So great start, Ashley, and I agree with you. It's the saga that continues. So from the Mas back to the Deportes, and I want to switch gears a little bit. The NBA, yes, the National Basketball Association, starting preseason. The actual season will start the day before Christmas, so we are literally just days away. And one of the biggest, news items related to the NBA, it's not the Lakers championship, it's not necessarily LeBron James, but it's James Harden, yes, the bearded one, who also, by the way, is part owner of the Houston Dynamo of the MLS, but the current Houston Rocket, James Harden, all-star, one of the best players currently in the NBA, but it's clear, he's made it clear, that he no longer wants to be a Houston Rocket. And Ashley, for James Harden, he's had a troubled few years not getting to where the expectation is to win a championship, to be there in a final, in NBA Finals, being the best team. The Rockets organization, I believe, have given everything in the past to make him and that team very competitive. Change in coach, change in star players. James Harden now is the only anchor, if you will, to the past of the Houston Rockets. And it appears he's not comfortable. Many reasons for this, I imagine. But do you think we'll see James Harden play with the Rockets this season?
Well, certainly he doesn't want to, Alex. And I think that is something also that is very important to keep in mind, because that brings into the question, should we allow a player to just get out of their contract in order to have their way? Or should we hold these players responsible in order to uphold their contracts and fulfill those contracts in order to move forward in a professional manner, I guess you can say. But he wants out of Houston, Alex. I think that there's a lot of behind closed doors butting heads with the ownership. There's a lot of rumors of that being because of political reasons. James Harden, I've heard, and I can't confirm this or not, there's a lot of rumors and a lot of reports that have come out that he just doesn't agree with Tillman Fertitta, which is the owner of the Houston Rockets.
And you mean agree politically?
Yes, political preferences, so political candidates in our presidency, I'll just leave it at that, who he voted for, or who he says so. And again, it's just a lot of backdoor talk. But again, these rumors have come to light, and it brings into the question whether, that's the reason James Harden doesn't want to be in Houston anymore, because he doesn't agree politically. And probably there's a lot more to that too, I'm sure. But he actually mentioned a couple of days ago that he's interested in Miami. What about Miami? And there's also been rumors about him possibly wanting to go upstate up into New York. So there's a lot of talk that he just doesn't want to be part of Houston. And I know that he has made that clear within his actions as well. We've seen him in the nightlife scene outside of Houston, and just kind of living it up and making a statement and saying, no, I don't want to be part of the Houston Rockets anymore. So it's definitely very difficult, because if you have a player, Alex, that doesn't want to be part of the team, that also brings a lot of tension into the team chemistry.
It does.
Team chemistry is very important, and it also, the chemistry that you have with the owners, the chemistry that you have with the new coach, and so there's a lot of butting heads there. So it's difficult. It's difficult because you want to please the player, but at the same time, it's like, hey, we have an organization that we need to run. We have contracts that we need to think about, and that we need to respect as well, those contracts. So it's just a lot of mess behind closed door. And we're starting the NBA preseason soon.
Correct.
So it's difficult. It's a difficult matter.
Well, I'll give you my take quickly on the Rockets. You know, Daryl Morey is gone. The coach is gone. We have Silas now as a coach. Westbrook is gone. There's been a change on almost everything. My belief is James Harden is no longer even the present or the future, certainly, of the Rockets. And I think the owner, Tillman Fertitta, like any owner, has to plan ahead. And in this case, he's saying, look, we didn't win with Harden. It isn't happening anytime soon. It's almost time to dream it all up again. And the Rockets starting almost from zero. He sees Harden, the writing on the wall, Ashley. I think we all see that. This team is not going to get to become NBA champions. It's just not going to happen. Harden sees that, even though he's due $50 million a season for the next 2 seasons, which is incredible money. For him, I don't think it's enough. He wants to go win a championship. He wants to be part of a dream team. That's why he was seeking to go to Brooklyn. He's opened up now his options because this is a negotiation. So this, in many ways, is normal. But it also speaks of a couple of things, Ashley, that we as fans, when I'm a fan, we as journalists have to look at this from the business point of view. We are sold a dream. We are sold to fans Harden, championship. He loves Houston. You know what? He's going to love Brooklyn if he gets to go to Brooklyn immediately. And I don't blame him for that. That's reality. That's life. And I think that's the balance we have to strike in presenting these stories. Now, what is interesting here is what you mentioned. Is there really friction, political friction, a philosophical difference between the owner and its players? And how does that play out, Ashley? Will now players say, okay, before I commit to be with X or Y team, I need to know about X or Y ownership. What do they believe in? Are they culturally, socially, politically aligned with my beliefs? If they are, I'm good. If they're not, why would I take their money? So it's a very interesting dynamic, which now really goes into reality. If the rumor that Fertitta and Harden don't get along politically, and they butt heads because one voted for one presidential candidate and one voted for the other, what does that mean? Can they still coexist, Ashley? Can you and I differ but still get our job done? I think you still have to be a professional about this, regardless of your political beliefs.
And I think that's exactly the key word here is being professional. You know, not everyone is going to have the same political views as you, not even the same mindset.
Right.
So it really just brings that's a key here is professionalism. You know, you have to decide, you know, are our differences bigger than what we are trying to achieve as a team? And I think that we should all, it's difficult because politics is so in our face nowadays. It kind of goes back to what you were saying, Alex. It's like we're tired of the election. We're tired of politics. And it's like, let's focus on the game. Let's focus on sports. But even the players are even making this a little bit more difficult, or perhaps the ownership is making this difficult.
Sure.
I don't know. But it's just when you bring this into the question, I think it's also about integrity. If you can find some sort of balance, like, hey, we may not agree politically as far as who we choose as you know, political candidates, but I love what you're doing for the team as an ownership, and I love what you bring to the team as a player. I think that, you know, you're amazing and you're amazing. You know, it's about balance and it's about respect.
That's the word, respect. Look, we can disagree, but we have a common goal now as teammates, as part of the Rockets organization, we're looking for a championship. We're going to disagree in maybe 5, 6 different ways, but we have more in common that separates us. And look, Mr. Fertitta, look, Mr. Harden, if I disagree with you, it's okay. Let's talk about it. But is it to the point where it's such a big disagreement that I can't even work with you? And I don't pretend to know the behind the scenes, Ashley, but there may be something to that. And that friction between them just is so strong, is so harsh that maybe they can't fix it.
And also, too, Alex, really quick, the Houston Rockets organization has been so good to James Harden. I know that they're really good to their players. I think that it's also about thinking of the fans as well. I mean, James Harden is the face of the Houston Rockets.
He currently is, yes.
You go anywhere that is Houston, it's Clutch City, Red Nation. You know, you have all these fans that literally bring their James Harden beers to the game. You know, they love it. He is so loved as a player here in the franchise that I also think that he owes it to the fans that have supported him after all these years. Yeah. Again, it's just about balance, respect, and then also, if that's not the case, if he wants out, you know, let's talk about it. But I think the organization, the Houston Rockets, is not going to stop for one player, and it shouldn't. I don't think that any organization should work that way. It's like, hey, we need to find with someone, we need to, you know, partner up with someone and bring someone to our team that is willing to, you know, be just as happy to be here, because again, that also kind of breaks up the chemistry that the team has.
Absolutely. And look, I think this example of Harden versus Rockets, if we can put it that way, Harden disenchanted with Rockets, is going to play itself out in the NBA, in other leagues soon, because it's part of the business, Ashley. And we've seen other disagreements. We've seen great players. You talk about the Rockets. If you recall, ladies and gentlemen, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, he did not end his career in Houston. He ended up in Canada, in Toronto. My point in bringing that up is nothing lasts forever. And as you know, athletes have short careers, especially at a high level. There are extraordinary cases like a LeBron James, of course, who came straight out of high school. So that made a difference. But Harden needs to look out for himself. The Rockets need to look out for themselves as an organization. And there's that balance. How much do we need each other? Can we coexist? Can we triumph together? Or can we be professional and say, you know what? It's no longer time for us to continue down this path. So James Harden didn't start his career in Houston, as you well know, and he may not end his career in the NBA with the Rockets. But to me, at least from my perspective, it's par for the course. Ashley, as we get started for the NBA season, what are you thinking? Do you think they'll actually be able to start on the 24th of December? Do you think COVID will be an issue? You know, we have all, as a society and a sports society, been shy about playing indoors, if you will. I'm sure there'll be limited restrictions depending on different parts of the country about how many fans can attend games in person. But do you think then the season will go on uninterrupted? Do you think I'm sure that's what the NBA is hoping for.
I think that they're definitely going to try, for now at least, just to keep things virtually. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to have an open arena with, you know, social distancing within the arena. We've seen it in the NFL, so why not in the NBA? I do think that now that a vaccine has been made, and again, that's completely up to you. That's a whole other conversation. Are you going to be taking the vaccine or not? You know, that's another conversation for another day. But there's definitely, COVID isn't going anywhere. So I think that we're going to have to adapt as a society, as sports fans, find a way that we're able to, you know, go out and rejoin society, join what we love to do in a safe way. As far as the players are concerned, you know, each and every single week we either see it on a pro level, Alex, or we see it on a collegiate level where players are still getting tested positive for COVID-19. So COVID is here to stay, unfortunately, but we're just going to have to learn to adapt and, you know, keep our immune system up and continue to move forward, because I feel like the world shouldn't stop. Our businesses shouldn't stop anymore. I think that we should be able to find ways, healthy and safe ways, to continue to work and move forward and enjoy the things that we love. Life is too short, Alex. I think that life is too short to stay cooped up in the house And even though that was fine when we didn't know so much about the virus and the pandemic and what was happening, now that we know a little more, now that we have resources available to, again, kind of get back into our normal lives, or as normal as possible in 2020, I think that it's okay to get back into that and to kind of rejoin society and see what we can do.
I think the balance is what's important here, Ashley. I agree with you to a certain extent. I know there's still a lot of people who are very nervous and cautious, and they have maybe elderly family members or friends that they're around or in their own house. So it's difficult, or more difficult for them than maybe a younger family. But the effects of a shutdown, we know are felt in our economy, are felt throughout, no matter what industry one may be in. And certainly sports have taken a hit this year. We'll see what the NBA does now as they ramp up another season. And yes, as quickly as the other one ended, another one is beginning, which at this point, at least in time, is supposed to be more of a normal 82-game season with all-star break, etc. So I certainly hope, Ashley, as a former NBA guy, that the league gets back to normal, because I think it benefits so many people beyond just the guys making $50 million a year like James Harden. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Now, Ashley, I wanted to switch gears because there was still a follow-up to the follow-up of the Tyson Jones Jr. fight. You mentioned Jake Paul, and now apparently another Paul has been committing, or has committed, to fight one of the greatest of all times. Am I getting some of this right?
Yes, the Paul brothers. So last week we had talked about the exhibition fight for Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. And then within that fight, there was another exhibition fight between Jake Paul, who is a famous YouTuber, crazy YouTuber, and a former NBA All-Star athlete, Nate Robinson. So they went toe-to-toe in the ring, Alex.
It didn't go too well for Robinson.
It didn't go too well for Nate Robinson, and let me tell you, Jake Paul heard the world about, do you think it was disrespectful that you knocked him out? And again, bringing race and politics into it. I'm like, just stop. These are two grown men who decided to take on a challenge. One had to lose, one had to win, and that was that. Move on. But we have another crazy Paul brother that is joining in on the ring.
There's another Paul brother.
There's another Paul brother, and it's
what is his name?
Logan Paul, and
Logan.
He's actually Jake Paul's older brother. He's also a YouTuber, also an athlete, but he doesn't have the experience in the ring that Jake Paul has, Alex. So this is definitely going to be interesting, and this is actually just crazy to me that he was able to get an exhibition fight with Floyd Mayweather. Now, according to
Undefeated Floyd Mayweather.
Undefeated Money Mayweather, yes.
Has agreed to fight a YouTuber in an exhibition boxing match.
This is, I know.
Okay, what's behind this, Ashley? There's got to be some money involved, or a charity or something.
There has to be. I'm sure there is. But what I find it crazy is, so Jake Paul, the younger brother, the one that just had the exhibition fight with Nate Robinson, he hasn't gone up against professional boxers just yet.
Right.
Now, he said, and he called out Conor McGregor, said, I would love to fight him. But he did it in a professional manner, not, cocky, confident, however you want to say it, but he's like, hey, I really want to do this as a career. Logan Paul, on the other hand, has not mentioned that he wants to take a step further in his boxing career. I think he just wants to join in on the fun and thinks that he can prepare and train like his brother and possibly see what happens from there. But yes, it is set for February 20th.
Holiday.
And this is according to Floyd Mayweather's Instagram. So Floyd Mayweather against Logan Paul, February 20th, exhibition fight. We'll see what happens. This is very interesting to me. We're seeing not professional athletes challenge some of the greatest athletes out there, Alex. This is crazy to me.
It is crazy. And I was looking down because I was looking up Logan Paul. So here's what I see. I see a YouTube channel with 22.6 million subscribers. 22 million people follow Mr. Logan Alexander Paul.
We get 22 million here on YouTube, Alex.
We're headed there, Ashley.
Actually, I'm going to take some time. Ladies and gentlemen, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel, Deportes Nation. We appreciate your support. Go ahead and get us to that 22 million. Who knows? Maybe you might see Alex challenge Mike Tyson one day in an exhibition fight because we have 22 million followers.
I'll get hit in the head to get in the ring with Tyson for charity. Absolutely, no doubt. Okay, so just so that I know, and maybe some of you veterans like Alex Parra, I'm looking at his YouTube channel, Ashley. The title of one of them is, I spent $150,000 on this Pokemon card, and 7.6 million people have watched that. Then there's another one. He's next to a girl.
The earliest videos that he posted, I mean, very controversial, very wild, and those are the Paul brothers for you. Controversy follows them, Alex. They're wild, they're crazy, they have millions and millions of followers. I mean, so they're internet celebrities, I guess you can say.
I don't get it. I don't see it. I promise you after this show, I'll at least watch one of these videos. Maybe it's a revelation I need to know about. But there you go. Another Paul brother getting into the ring. Is it sports? Is it entertainment? I don't know what it is, but it's working, right?
Let me just say this really quick. I undefeated Floyd Mayweather. Mm-hmm. I know that he is not going to want to lose this fight, Alex, and it scares me. It scares me for Logan Paul because this is a YouTuber, and yes, I mean, I don't need to say that. Just no offense to saying we're YouTubers now.
Apparently, we are. Yes,
he is not a world champion like Floyd Mayweather. And let me just say this: if I got into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, I'd be like, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to shake your hand. Just take a quick selfie and dip out.
And please don't hit me. Yes.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So scary to me, but crazy. I don't know, Alex. I don't think that Floyd Mayweather is going to jeopardize his undefeated career for having a YouTuber step in the ring and, just Nate Robinson him.
I see dollar signs, Ashley. I think that's what's driving all of this. But if a YouTuber versus a Hall of Famer can get this and be successful and maybe help somebody, and they're both adults, more power to them. I'm sure the pay-per-view will be $180 or something like that, right, Ashley?
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it. So we don't charge that much, ladies and gentlemen. You can watch us almost for free, and we appreciate all of you that have taken the time to watch us on this edition and all our previous and hopefully future editions of the Deportes Nation podcast. Ashley, we have to go, but anything that you've got coming up here the next couple of days?
Well, Alex, all I can say is that, again, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Please make sure to like and subscribe this video. If you're on our podcast on any of our 7 platforms, please make sure to like and subscribe or follow. You can follow us on all social media platforms as well. You can follow Alex at Alex R.
Don't forget the R.
And then you can follow me at Ashley Rodriguez Official, Ashley Rodriguez Oficial. So you can follow us on all social media platforms. We'd love to engage with you guys. So please follow us. Give us your comments, your feedback. Let us know what you want us to talk about because, hey, it's an open door conversation here, Alex. I love it. But yeah, that's really it. And again, thank you all so much. We appreciate your support.
We really do, ladies and gentlemen. For us, it's an honor. I say this, it's an honor and a pleasure to be part of the Deportes Nation, and certainly alongside my co-host, Miss Ashley Rodriguez. So on behalf of our production staff, on behalf of Ashley, I'm Alex. Thank you for joining us. Please take care. Please be careful. Please stay strong. And until next time here on the Deportes Nation.